The Donald, release Roger from prison. Hurry up, bro, soon it'll be all season. Get him here cash, that was the vision. But they locked him up, cause they fear his mission. Dog Bitcoin Jesus, straight from the start. 2011, spreading the spark. Told him the bank's gon' keep y'all in chains. Now he's in a cell where McAfee's name remains. More regulators hate when the people got power. So they set traps, watch them all turn sour. Spain got him locked, extradition in sight. For what, selling freedom? Nah, that ain't right. And they hate BCH cause it moves too fast. No middleman, fees no Wall Street tax. Now they got him shackled, trying to shut him down. But the blockchain's still running underground. To Donald, release Roger from prison. Hurry up, bro, soon it'll be all season. Get him here cash, that was the vision. But they locked him up, cause they fear his mission. The boss can't hold a decentralized mind. The state wanna break him, but they way behind. 2024, it's a brand new race. Fiat's burning, they trying to save face. But inflation robbing every man and his soul. Meanwhile, BCH still playing his role. They print trillions, stealing your wealth. While Roger, sitting in a cell by himself. The elites want control, they don't want you free. That's why they took them, same thing they did to McAfee. They silenced the ones who exposed the game. But Bitcoin Cash still carry his name.
Authorities in Spain have detained Roger for U.S. officials seeking extradition for alleged tax crimes. The same facility where John McAfee was found dead in 2021. Some say this is politically motivated, but boom, beat drops again.
To Donald, release Roger from prison. Hurry up, bro, soon it'll be all season. Get him here cash, that was the vision. But they locked him up, cause they fear his mission. They scared of the truth, they scared of the chain. But BCH gon' break through the pain. Freedom ain't free, the war ain't done. They took Roger down, but the people ain't won. Roger, free Roger, free Roger, free Roger. Coin, cash is freedom. Roger, free Roger, free Roger, free Roger. Coin, cash is freedom. In the tyranny. Big Don already.
There will be no real non-controlled currency in the world.
We're coming for you, banks.
Listening to different podcasts, like in a whole different reality, which they think completely different things about Bitcoin.
They have got my money in their banking system. I should be able to access it, right?
Happening is live.
There's a good number of fucking, like, pretty smart Bcashers.
Hello and welcome back to the Bitcoin Cash podcast. Following Bitcoin Cash on its rise to global reserve currency. This is episode number 156. BCH Tattoos and Las Vegas Crypto Club featuring OOTATT. Today is Sunday, the 3rd of August, 2025. I'm your host, Jeremy. Jet is doing the producing. Quick check on the market. The gains have been coming in sort of for BCH. We've moved up one slot to rank 15, $541.20 for 100 megasats. One BTC sat buys 210.8 BCH sats. That's actually flat-ish. One ETH buys only 643 megasats. We're up on the ratio there. Selene, 571 users on the 30-day, and Tokenaut TVL is at 11,390 BCH, which is actually skyrocketed since the previous episode. So I don't know, maybe some people locking in some funds on Moria or something like that. Also, quick shout out to everyone for the Independence Day on the 1st of August. It was 8 years since the BCH BTC split, and we're now into the 9th year of the BCH rebrand, Bitcoin's second chance, as it seems like people are going to start calling it. So I hope everybody enjoyed that. And General Protocols did a really good episode of the GP Spaces. So check in on that if you need something to kind of celebrate. Okay, our guest today, Mr. OOTATT, is a tattoo artist and a BCH onboarder, and I would guess all around kind of crypto fan. Welcome to the show, man. How do you get into Bitcoin?
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me, man. I got into Bitcoin about 2018, 19, because my guy, he was a scammer, and he was like, bro, you got to buy stuff online with Bitcoin so that way you don't get traced. And I'm like, all right, like, and I'm like, let's do it. Like, I just want to pretty much follow suit, with the plan because it was working for him. And we was, making transactions and whatnot. And then I look back, now, and I see all the money, all the Bitcoin I spent on buying stuff like food. Like, I was like, man, I probably saved all that Bitcoin. Like, yeah.
But you started off then with at least the mentality of trying to buy things for it. So I guess you already understood that it was a currency, and maybe the investing part kind of came to it later, right? When nowadays there's this huge problem where everybody comes to it with an investing mindset, and then you try and convince them to use it to transact, and then they're not as open to it. But it sounds like you somehow dodged that. So well done on that.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, because like I said, I was pretty much introduced to it in a transactional way. So I didn't think about it as investing. And it's funny you say that because everybody I meet now, they always ask me, so how do I invest? What do I need to do to invest in crypto? And first thing I always say is like, honestly, for me, it's really not necessarily about investing. It's more about earning and using the crypto rather than trying to invest in it, for me personally.
And so what is the general reaction that you get to that? Then people get kind of confused that you're telling them a different story to what they've already heard before? Or do they kind of say, no, this is interesting and maybe it kind of makes sense? How do you work people through that confusion?
They're pretty much really receptive to what I'm telling them because I pretty much come with an example of inflation and pretty much how the dollar is used, is not invested in, and that's a pretty, clear-cut example of the difference in their mindsets, because they thinking about, well, how do I invest in this crypto? How do I invest? What do I do? I'm like, well, in all actuality, you want to try to earn it and then spend it rather than trying to invest in it and, waiting on your investments.
And is this coming from any particular demographic? In general, I have no idea, in your daily life when you're trying to onboard people, is it more guys, girls, older people, younger people, Americans, international? What's the kind of mix of people that you're getting this vibe from?
We pretty much, I have a very diverse, set of clients and people that I reach out to, from young, old, every ethnicity. Like I've done tattoos on 70-year-old women, and 12-year-old boys. So the spectrum is, is huge.
Is there any ethical guideline around that? Is there an age at which you wouldn't?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Okay?
But I didn't care. This is a permissionless game that we're talking about.
all right. Fair enough.
I don't even care about what the government says. If you want it, you got the funds for it. I got the service. Let's do it.
All right. Fair enough. So tell me, how'd you get into tattooing then? What was the backstory there? Is that something you always kind of were interested in as a kid, or how'd you end up in tattoos?
Well, I've been an artist my whole life. Since I could hold a pencil, I've been drawing. And since I was in any type of social environment, as far as, kindergarten, I was selling my drawings in kindergarten. Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, I was drawing it and I was selling it for $2 for a crayon drawing. And you'd be surprised how much money I made in kindergarten.
I would not be surprised. You're a born entrepreneur.
No, literally, if I never had to, go through legal situations and stuff, whatever, I never probably would have had a job working for anybody else my whole life.
Mm-hmm. You've got that gene in you right from the beginning. So you're into the tattoo, you're into the drawings as a kid, and then at some point that must have sort of expanded, right? Or you realized you needed to scale it up, or you got into the ink. What happened?
Well, I had a friend that pretty much just dropped the bug in my ear and was like, "Hey, bro, you can make a lot of money from doing tattoos, and you already a phenomenal artist. You can draw better than everybody I've ever seen. if you did tattoos, bro, you'd be famous, rich, like no time. And I'm like, yeah. At the time, I was like 17, about to turn 18, and I was like, fuck it, all right, let's try to get it. And I told my mom, actually, I said, hey, mom, because it's so funny, because I wasn't even going to school at the time. Like, I was like pretty much on some dropout, like didn't care about life, you know, I'm 17, 18, you know, what else to live for? And I told my mom, I said, hey, if I go back to school and I get all A's in my report card, you got to buy me a tattoo kit.
Good negotiation.
Yeah. And like, she tried to call my bluff for real. Like, she was like, you ain't been to school in 6 months. She's talking about straight A's. And it was still like probably about 4 or 5 weeks left in the semester. So I like had to bust ass, you know, but without a shadow of a doubt, 4.0 GPA. Yeah.
No problem.
Got the tattoo kit and then dropped out of school.
Did she see that coming? Do you think? Did she sort of see the arc of where this was heading, or was she again just like, no, he's never going to deliver, so I'm making a safe bet here? What was that vibe?
She was looking at it like, you know what? It's a win-win either way, because if he doesn't do it, then I can save the money. But if he does do it, then I get free tattoos. Like, she was all for it.
Right. Okay. So she had a vision, you know, that it could pan out. That's good. That's always good, you know. Like, I think everybody has that with their parents. I certainly have, you know, that you go through where your parents kind of have one view of how they sort of expect your life is going to go, or, you know, they've watched you growing up, right? So they can kind of see what you're getting into, and then maybe they think how it's going to pan out one way. But then as you kind of grow into adulthood, obviously it's pretty critical, that age range there, 17, 18, 19, 20, once you've like moved out of home, you're doing your own thing. I think then they start to lose a little bit of visibility of what's going on. And so that's when things can start to make some moves that they, as a parent, you know, I can't speak from being a parent myself, but that they need to sort of accept that, like, okay, I was keeping things on a certain track until now, but now I just gotta let it happen how it happens, right? So
yeah, that's pretty much exactly what happened. Because once I started doing the tattoos, I started making a lot of money. You know, I had more money than most people my age, and like, you could see it. So like, my energy was different, my vibe was different, my conversation was different. So like, it almost became a clash, because, you know, I was still so young and immature with, you know, a higher financial status. So you know, I was kind of wielding my authority, you know, to a certain degree. And that became like, you know, a point where we started to bump heads a little bit.
Yes. Well, that's all part of the learning experience as well too. So tell me then, with the tattoos, right? Obviously it's like permanent, or at least sort of semi-permanent in a way. So it must be hard to get started then, because if you don't have that reputation and reliability, then how do you know that you're going to do a good job on your first few tattoos, right? So I guess people can see, okay, this guy's artistic, he's drawing, but what do you start with? Some friends who are more invested in your success, or do you still remember your first tattoo that you gave?
Yep, clear as day. Other than myself, because I tattooed myself before I tattooed anybody else. And I like scarred my arm up so bad, like it was all bad. Like, it was painful, it looked painful, like it was an epic fail. But I still had people like pretty much having faith in me and my abilities. They seen me as an artist before they see me as somebody that does tattoos. So they was like, bro, just keep practicing. You're gonna get it, you know. And people was like, bro, I'll let you practice on me. Like, because they like, eventually you're gonna get good, and, you know, I'll have some good work for free, pretty much. Yeah. I even had, you know, people that was one of my first paid clients. He hadn't even seen any of the tattoos I've done, but he seen my artwork, and he paid me $30 to tattoo on his neck. Like I said, I didn't know what I was doing, man. I probably could have killed him, bro. Like, I'm tattooing on his jugular, like the needle. You feel me? Going too deep. I'm scarring. I'm literally seeing the skin scrape off to the pink meat. Like, it was all bad. It was all bad.
Jeez. All right. I know. I'm actually hoping Jet will jump in with a bit here, because he is much more the tattoo guy here than me. He knows all about this, I assume. I like.
There we go.
I've seen one of those charts that they have of like pain on a person that you're doing different areas, whether it's more or less painful. But yeah, by the side of the neck, that's some risky business for sure.
Yeah.
I know, like, I have a friend who has like behind his ear, and he said that aside from like the needle vibrate, like reverberating inside your skull and having to hear that through the whole experience, it wasn't too bad. I think the most painful one for me is like between, like the space between your ribs. Like I did, I think 6 sessions like for both sides of my ribs, and the third session I was like, okay man, like we got to stop, we got to figure out another way to do this because I'm gonna knock you out, like we can't continue this.
It get like that for real, especially after a long session, after 2-3 hours on the same area. Woo. Yeah.
So how do you prepare the clients for that?
I make sure they eat at least 30 minutes before they get the tattoo, because the painkiller endorphins in your blood feed off of your blood sugar. So if you got low blood sugar, stuff hurts more. So I make sure they got pretty good high blood sugar, and pretty much really prepare them mentally more than anything, because they come in mentally all out of whack. They always thinking, oh, it's gonna hurt so bad. Everything they heard is like it's all horrible, bad things. And I always tell them, first thing I say, listen, a tattoo is not gonna hurt nearly as bad as you think it's gonna hurt. So like whatever pain level you got in your head already, chop that in half at least. Like I guarantee you, when I tattoo you, you're gonna be so surprised on how much it doesn't hurt compared to what you were actually thinking. And they be like, so when I tattoo them, they be like, oh, this ain't
So do you remember you said about your first tattoo? What was it, and who was it? If you're able to say.
My guy, his name is Malachi Braxton, and he got, what did he get on his neck? Oh, it was a money sign, a money with wings on it. Yeah. That's
all right. Okay. And since then, in your, how many tattoos do you think you've given over the years? Do you have any estimate of that?
Man, I never even tried to actually like calculate it, but man, it's been days where I done did 20 tattoos in one day. It's been, weeks where I probably did, 50 tattoos in a week, like, but there are also days or months where I might do 2 tattoos, so like it's kind of hard to really calculate it. But over 15 years of tattooing, I've probably done at least 5,000 tattoos. At least. I think that's a small number, really. Like,
yes,
I'm trying to be modest and realistic, but like I know I do a lot more work than I've seen other tattoo artists do. For sure.
Yes. And do you have any specific tattoo that you can remember that somebody has maybe requested or has been gone in for that surprised you or caught you off guard, or maybe had like an emotional story behind it, something like that?
Yep. Every time somebody asks me this, I think of the same person. It was a guy that he had recently gotten into a tragic car accident, and he was in a coma for like 3 months. And like the first couple days out of the coma, he hit me up talking about he wanted a tattoo. He could barely talk, he could barely walk, but he wanted this tattoo. And I'm like, you sure you gonna make it here, bro? Like, he's like, yeah, like I'll be there. I'm gonna get my beer and I'm gonna be there. I'm like, all right. So he pulls up, he gets out the car, and he's like limping with his beer. And I'm like, you sure you good, bro? Like, we ain't gotta do this right now. You limping, bro. And he's like, I'm gonna be limping forever, bro. Like, I just got out of the coma. I'm like, huh? And he breaks it all down to me, and then eventually he tells me, the tattoo that he wants. And I'm like, all right, what do you want? He's like, on my big toe. I said, whoa. Big toe. He's like, yeah, man. When you die, they put a toe tag on your toe. Right. I'm like, yeah. He's like, I want you to tattoo place tag here. I said, for what, bro? For what? He's like, so when I die, 'cause I know I'm gonna die soon. I'm like, bro, don't talk like that. But he's like, yeah, whatever, fuck all that. I'm dying soon. And I want the doctors to laugh. I was like, wow. I like that.
I thought you were gonna say like he wanted to get on his tattoo like double check or like something like that. Like next time he's in a coma, he's like, yo, I'm gonna come out of this the second time as well, you know?
Shit. That would have been good too for sure.
Damn. All right. Okay. That's a quality story. I like that. Okay. Well, at least you had a sense of humor about it, you know. That's you can't ask you can't ask for much more. Yeah.
Yeah, after
People
you died and come back, like you look at life differently for sure. So like he was all good spirits for sure.
I guess every day is a gift. We should never forget that.
The present is a gift.
That's right, exactly. So you've been rocking through the tattoos all through this time. Now you're in Las Vegas now, or that's where you're based, right? So has it always been kind of focused in that area, and your reputation has been growing in that area, or have you moved around?
No, I've actually been in Indiana most of my life, and I moved out to Vegas not even 3 months ago, back in May. So that's almost 4 months. Yeah, and I moved out here following my dreams to be a tattoo artist, an artist that tattoos. You know, I'm drawing, I'm tattooing, I'm doing promotion, whatever it takes to be successful. And I was literally tattooing outside on the sidewalk in front of a smoke shop when pretty much Ken Bozak got wind of me, reached out to me, told me, hey man, I want you to come tattoo me at Bitcoin Beans Crypto Club. And I didn't know what that was or where it was at, but I'm like, I'll be there, don't worry. And when I got there, you know, he's telling me about the club and how he's showing me how amazing it is, like, and it's showing me like the vision for it. I'm all excited about it. Like, okay, that's what's up, bro. Like, you know, this is a cool spot. You know, I'm glad you invited me. You know, long story short, I do his tattoo, nail it. He offers me to do the tattoos at his pretty much grand opening and a tattoo party that he wanted to throw over that weekend. And I'm like, yeah, for sure. He's like, can I pay you in crypto, Bitcoin? I'm like, yeah, why not? I was like, I got a Bitcoin wallet. I got blockchain.com actually. And he was like, sweet. He's like, I would pay you double for accepting Bitcoin. I said, super sweet. Like, you know, like, yeah. So I do his tattoo, do the tattoo party. And, you know, in the middle of the tattoo party, it just gets to a point where me and Ken bonding so much, you know, vibing so well. He's just like, bro, I think you should, you know, like be here permanently, tattoo here, you know, permanently. And I'm like, really? Me? Little old me? Like, you know, I feel really honored when he like, you know, suggested that. I was like, bro, say less, bro. Like, this is what you want. Like, I'm definitely for it, all for it. I'm here. I'll be here. What time you want to be here? And like within that next week, I had a key to Bitcoin Beans Crypto Club, and now I got this office, and it's almost like a dream come true, man, for real.
That's amazing. And can you talk a little bit more about, so Ken Bozak, Jet, do you know who that is? Is he like a famous guy in the tattoo scene? I've heard his name.
Yeah, I had no idea who this guy was. Like, this guy is a random white guy with dreads, like dreadlocks. You feel me? Locks.
I think I remember him from like when I first got into crypto, because he has a bunch of like cryptocurrency tattoos, right? Like his whole like arm. Yeah, okay. I remember back in like one of the first crypto Facebook groups, like every couple weeks he would get a new tattoo and photos of it would go around the group and people would be like, look at this fucking jackass. But then he just disappeared for years. Like I hadn't heard anything about him until the tattoo club came back up. And when I saw him again, I was like, is this the same guy? Like, he seems like he's calmed down quite a lot.
Yeah, it's channeled energy, you know, like for sure. Like, and when I tell you, man, like I said, I had no idea who this guy was, his history, like nothing about him. Like I was fairly unfamiliar with the entire crypto NFT space completely. But the more I'm around him and the more I see people that recognize him, I'd be like, yeah, he's somebody special for real. Like, you know what I mean? But like honestly, without even anybody ever telling me that he was special or that his history, anything like that, I could see it a mile away talking to him. Like everybody that he interacts with, like he got like this magical gift to like see two people, watch them two talk, and then tell them what they need to do for each other. You know what I mean? Like
Connector.
talk about he does it on such a grand scale. Like he seen me and told me, "Hey, this is what you should do," and I've been doing it. And now look at me, like literally.
It's all working. It's all working. Yeah. Okay. It seems like yeah. Sounds like an interesting guy. I think he followed me on Twitter, and I've seen him in maybe one of that video with you, but I haven't looked into it all. So that's something I'll definitely need to check out more of. So tell me, where in this story does Bitcoin Cash come into it? Was he paying you in Bitcoin Cash or in BTC?
Ken paid me in BTC, but I was pretty much creating a new business structure for my business of tattoos, and it was pretty much me offering to do businesses, logos, and brands tattoos, doing those tattoos on the public for free, and then seeking compensation from the business owner. Pretty much the same format we got with BCH, but I was just preparing to create that business format when Steve Thurman was talking to Ken, and he got wind of it, of what I was doing, my intentions, and he was like, Steve was like, ask O, would he be interested in doing BCH tattoos with the same format? And I was like, why the fuck not? Hell yeah. Like, let's do it. Like, I was even done preparing, the actual business format, and I'd already pretty much received a client. And I was like, hell yeah, let's go. Like, for sure. And yeah, once he got on board and pretty much he funded the first 20 free BCH tattoos out of his own pocket. And that was such a blessing for me. I appreciate him so much for that. Shout out to Steve Thurman. Yeah. He like I said, he funded the first 20, and that was pretty much the foundation for the proof of work that needed to be presented for the Fund Me campaign. Yeah. And that was such a blessing because it is all worked out so perfectly, for real.
So Steve funds the initial 20 tattoos, and you went out and gave people BCH tattoos. We have a couple of photos here on the slides Jet can pull up so people can see what you're talking about. But for the audio listeners, we've got like people getting like baddest tattooed on their ankle, or with the BCHB, or one girl in between her cleavage here. We've got another neck tattoo going on. We've got some BCH kind of dice and different BCH rocket ship taking off. And each one of these, you've made a NFT certificate of authenticity with a personalized message and a QR code. So just walk me through this. Are these the ones from the original batch or no?
Yeah, those are the original, first of the original 25. Yeah.
So where did these people come from? Where did you find these people to pitch them on these tattoos, or did they come to you? How did that work?
Yeah, I pretty much, I had my niece, I tattooed her, and my nephew, I tattooed him. I tattooed her boyfriend, and then this is pretty much like a snowball wildfire effect. Like once they take a picture of it and show, hey, I got this tattoo from OOTATT for free, they like, what? Who else? Like, can I get one too? Like, and it was like I say, wildfire snowball effect. Like people started hitting me up. Like I didn't have to do much promoting, for real. Like a free tattoo is like very enticing. Like people will jump groups and jump off a bridge for a free tattoo.
Yeah, well, that's how you found a product market fit, right? So walk me through the economics a little bit. So how much does it actually cost to give? I know you and I have talked about this a little bit, but for the listeners and as well to elaborate, how much does it cost to give someone a tattoo, like start to finish? Let's say you just arrived in Las Vegas, right? You were not maybe bringing a whole load of stuff with you because you're moving across the country. What's the startup cost? And then once you get around to giving someone a tattoo, how much does each tattoo kind of cost?
Well, it kind of depends. It's a lot of variables. You know, first having all my equipment already, you know, it takes the cost of doing the tattoo down a lot, you know. But you know, it's more about the actual the labor of the time, you know. If I want to talk about, you know, the cost of supplies, you know, a box of needles for 10 needles might be $40, you know. But I might use 3 needles on one tattoo, you know. So if you want to, you know, slice the hairs and do all the math on that, we kind of could, but it really wouldn't be a real estimate of how much it would cost to do a tattoo, you know.
Yeah, it's not a, you know, financial breakdown. We're not doing a whole like business plan here. I'm just trying to give like listeners, like, so for instance, me, I have 0 tattoos. I don't think I've ever even been inside a tattoo parlor or anything like that. I have no idea if we're talking about like $10 or $100 or $1,000 or 10 grand. Like, just give me a rough range if I wanted to.
Well, just simple as, okay, if I'm an artist with nothing, starting off from nothing, and I want to give you a tattoo,
yeah,
you have to buy, you know, all the supplies, you know, tattoo machine, needles, cleaning supplies, printers, booth rent. Like, you got to have everything to produce one tattoo, you know. But once you have everything, your overhead pretty much goes down for what it costs to do the tattoo, and then it just, you know, comes from how much you would actually charge the person for the tattoo.
Yeah. Okay. So the startup cost is roughly what, in the thousands kind of range, and then the per tattoo cost a couple hundred, right?
Nice tattoo machine is at least $1,000. You know, your computer and printers, you know, over $1,000 to combine. You know, all your tattoo supplies. Like, yeah, it's a definitely over a couple $1,000s investment to get a startup as nice as mine, you know, because like you can start up for a lot less. Like, I started, like I say, at 17 years old with $150 tattoo equipment, and that little kit came with everything I need. But you know, that was 15 years ago, and the technology has advanced tremendously, and you know, stuff back then was a lot cheaper because you were getting lower quality. You know, now I'm looking for the best quality, so you know, things are, you know, gonna be a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, yeah, once you're in the big leagues, of course, you got to play with the play with the best gear. You know, I always love this kind of stuff because it's very, you know, interesting when you see like Tiger Woods would, you know, crush anybody with any set of clubs, right? So when you're a noob and you go play at the golf course, or you know, you're picking up any hobby like guitar, you know, some people are like, let me go get the most fanciest guitar, you know, but then they never actually play it, right? And then some people get the crappiest guitar, and then they figure out, you know, how to actually play it, and then sort of slowly upgrade over time, right? So all these different hobbies, there's always some interplay between. You kind of got to start with the crappy stuff, because when you suck, you don't know the difference between the crappy stuff and the good stuff. You wouldn't be able to make effective use of it anyway. And so that's kind of nice, because also it's cheaper usually to get the shit stuff, you know. So people who are getting into a new hobby, they're immediately dumping a bunch of cash. It's like, no, that's the wrong way around. You got to start on the crap stuff, and then once you get good, of course, you can invest and upgrade. So yeah, that makes sense to me that would be tattooing would be exactly like that. And on the equipment side, then is, I guess there must be like tattoo conventions and tattoo industry and stuff like that. I don't know anything about that either. Can you tell me what's kind of going on there?
Definitely, I've been to a couple tattoo conventions. I've been to one in Kentucky, at Louisville, Kentucky. I met a lot of different famous tattoo artists, and like, you ever heard of the Black Ink Crew? It's like pretty much a urban tattoo shop based out of New York, California. I think it might be one in Atlanta too, yeah. And they're very big in the urban community. And I went down and met them, got a tattoo from the owner. I paid $250 for a tattoo this big. And like, that was just because of his status, you know. Like, it wasn't the quality of the tattoo, because I did the same tattoo on my mother's son, my son's mother, and I did better than his. Like, it's like, but his status is what increased the value or the price of his work, you know, his celebrity status, you know, not necessarily his skill, just his status. And I learned that very valuable experience.
Well, when you say that, it makes sense to me then why NFTs instantly made sense to you, right? Because that's also a similar thing where it's not necessarily that. Obviously, famously, there was the CryptoPunks NFTs, and the value in the NFT can be in the artwork in some sense, but often the actual quality, quote unquote, of the artwork doesn't matter. I mean, that's subjective anyway, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But regardless, the technical excellence is not necessarily what it is. It's about what it represents, who created it, what was the kind of lore, the story behind how you got it, or what, like we do the Bliss NFTs for our conference. Like, you can only get one of those if you're going to buy a ticket to come along to the event, and it has all these like sort of other perks related to it and all that kind of stuff. So it's something as simple as just a picture online you can imbue with so much value through that reputation and all that kind of thing, right? So is that something that caught your interest, and is that why you're so big on these NFT tattoo crossovers?
Honestly, I gotta give it up to Ken, man, because like I've been making these certificates of authenticity for each tattoo for years now, but I had never minted them as NFTs until I met Ken, and he was like, "Hey, bro," like I said, he sees the situation and he sees how to put some magic on it and turn it to the next level, and that's exactly what he did. Like, he gave me the idea because I had hundreds of certificates, and I was like, that would be a really cool idea if they were all minted as NFTs and certain collections, and certain clients that received them could have a whole collection, a whole Ken Bozak collection of all the tattoos he received from me. Like that, I thought when he expressed that, I seen the value of it, and I was like, ooh, yeah, that would be really cool.
I have a question for you. Do you just focus on tattooing, or are you involved in like the heavier body mod scene at all as well?
Oh, no.
That's
so funny because like only tattoo artists would probably understand what you mean by that. Like, when you say intense body mods, hard body mods, like I know that's like people getting hung up by hooks and stuff, like people getting horns in their head, like
I was thinking, like, what if you did a subdermal implant that's shaped like the Bitcoin B, and then you also have it's like some kind of NFC capability embedded into the thing. Then you have like a cold wallet storage like on your person in your skin. Like,
well, that's probably okay. Just I got to jump in, but this is all hypothetical discussion. Anyone doing this, you really got to know what you're doing, because that then makes you a target to grab them and cut it out of you, right? Like, this is not being recommended by this show. I want to be very clear. The Bitcoin Cash podcast does not endorse it, but for hypothetical discussion, please carry on.
That's crazy. Like, that is really, really like an innovative thought. Like, I never even thought of that at all. Like, that sounds really, really cool. And like, I would be interested in doing it, but like, I have no experience at it all. Like, I've never pierced anything. Like, I'm not into piercings for real at all. So like, for me to do something like that.
Yeah. So I did a piercing apprenticeship for a short time, but even the implant stuff, like any of the like even just the dermal like hooks, like surface piercings and stuff like that, I didn't do, because like making pockets inside of people's skin freaks me out. That's such a weird idea.
That's my whole point. Like piercing like a hole through your body. I don't know if I can do that. I can scrape your skin a little bit. I scratch the surface, but digging like through the epidermis and all, no. It's a lot more blood and a lot more, variables that could,
yeah, a lot more that could go wrong.
And being in a tattoo shop for years, I've experienced other piercers and watched them, all the trials and tribulations they go through. Man, 6 out of 10 piercings have to come back to that, piercer to get it, fixed or adjusted or something like that. And I don't want to see the same client more than once if I'm not getting paid more than once. Like, so, that part of it as well. Like, I was like, nah, I'm cool. Like, even though they make a lot of fast money, a lot of people want more piercings than tattoos because they're usually cheaper, faster, you know. So like somebody can do 10 piercings while I'm doing one tattoo and make, you know what I'm saying, you know, a lot more to me. Sometimes, you know, it's give and take.
Damn. All right, here we go. Let's get into this is a little bit of the piercing law. When I was in high school, I had a female friend that was like, "Oh, I really want to get a piercing because she already had her ears pierced." She was like, "Oh, I really want to get a like belly button piercing, but I need some kind of like moral support or something. Do you want to come along, Jeremy?" And I was like, "All right, I don't know what this is all about. I don't know shit about piercing, but all right, if you want somebody to come along, that's fine." So I went along to this piercing shop and kind of like stood, you know, outside while she was in there for like half an hour or something like that. And she came out, and I was expecting like a small little ring, like people might have a small little earring. I was expecting like that, but then she came out. She had like a giant, sort of like a crystal. I don't know. No, it was very valuable, but like a huge thing, like protruding out of her stomach. And I was like, how the hell did this go down in the last like half hour? I was like, do you need to go to hospital or something? Like, what's going on? And she was like, no, it's all good. Let's just, you know, go get something to eat and shit. And I was like, whoa. So that was my last experience with
When you say protrude, I'm thinking like looking out far, like it's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, wow, this is some serious bit. Like there must have been a sizable needle involved here. Like this did not happen like with just one little poke. But anyway, she seemed completely fine. So I don't know how she found that piercing place, but she was certainly putting herself on the line. Abby McDonald, shout out. All right, okay, all right, that's enough. That's enough of that. So Steve Thurman, he's fronts the money. You get the tattoos rolling. The clients are pouring in through the door. Everyone's having a great time. Word of mouth, things are going on. Now I know you know Callisti as well too. Where did he come into the picture in all this?
Okay, yeah, he was there on the day I was doing the tattoo party. I think it was the first day. And I was like, I'm doing the tattoos for free. So he wanted to tip me, but I didn't have a BCH QR code on my wall. And he was like, you should really get one. You should put one up there. And I was like, all right, you know what I mean? And he was like, here, I want to tip you. And I'm like, I'm really like confused. I'm gonna tip me for what? I'm like, I just met you. I don't even, you know, what do you mean? I didn't tattoo you. Like, I just want to tip you. I'm like, all right. And I downloaded, did I download Celine? No, I didn't even download Celine Wallet at first because I had a Venmo Bitcoin Cash wallet. So I showed him that. And then he sent it. But then I turned around and downloaded Celine Wallet right after that. Yeah. I think it went like that. You know, I smoked a couple blunts since then.
That sounds about right. So you met him, you hit it off with him. I think that was during the BTC conference, right?
That weekend.
So there was already a lot of people in town, I guess. Like the club is getting busier around that time, or what's going on?
And that was like before we even opened. Like we just had the keys and we were just moving stuff in and renovating and stuff like that. And we had space, so you know, we invited people over, had some music, had a DJ, had me doing tattoos, and it was a vibe.
Because he was very impressed. He went to the BTC conference, as you might know now, the BCH community and the BTC community have had all these beefs in the past and whatever, and so he was going there sort of as a ambassador of a certain sign, an emissary, to kind of poke around, which he did last year with Steve Thurman, and we had them on the show. They talked about it, right? And then he did it again this year, but this year he, I guess, in his experience, I think he found it a little bit boring. So then he was like looking around for what else was going on, and then that's how he got onto the crypto club, and then he met you. And then when I was talking to him, I'm talking to him regularly. After that, he was like, man, we got to talk to this guy. Like, this is kicking off this crypto club. It's like the whole tattoos thing. Like, he instantly just loved it and saw sort of the opportunity there. And then that was when we talked, and we talked about getting the BCH like fund me proposal, because I think this is obviously a great idea, and you pitched it in the fund me very accurately with the fact that if you get somebody's tattooed, that's way better ROI on advertising than if you like buy a billboard, because for one thing, it's permanent. And for two things, they're going to advertise it themselves. You know, they're going to be proud and excited about their tattoo. They're going to be showing it off. They're going to have a story about it. With a billboard, you buy it once, and then after, you know, a week, you've got to renew it or you've got to pay again. But the tattoo, no, they're going to have that story and that personal connection for it forever, right? So walk me through that part of it. How did things then go escalate sort of into the Fund Me campaign, and what was that all about?
Okay, well, after I completed the first 20 or 25, actually, that was in preparation for the Fund Me, and it was pretty much, you know, I just wanted to set a foundation and then launch, you know, a pretty much perpetual partnership between, you know, the OOTATT experience and the BCH community, because like I see the importance of marketing crypto into the world. And I see how this free tattoo initiative is like the biggest way to market, you know, something on a grand scale, like to the day. Like when you, like I say, I compare it to billboards, because billboards are like, you know, a real world marketing agent. You know what I mean? It's not something that you'll see on your phone or TV. You know, it's a real world. You see it in real life. And that's the same thing as a tattoo. But the fact that tattoos pretty much outperform billboards on a marketing level in every way, like they're more visible, they're mobile, they're connected to a entity, a person that talks, you know, that can inform them about the tattoo or the design or the promotion. And like a highway billboard couldn't even compete to the numbers that one tattoo would put up, you know, because for one, that highway billboard has to be paid again in the next month, you know, but this tattoo is perpetual and it's moving places that a billboard would never go. You know, nobody's taking a video of a billboard and saying, "Hey, look, this is my billboard." Like, you know, but on top of that, like, you know, anytime somebody has a fresh new tattoo, the public is going to ask them, "Hey, that's a fresh new tattoo. Like, where you get that? What's that about?" Like, it automatically starts a conversation that leads to the education of BCH, and like I see it as clear as day because I'm doing it, and I see the people that have received the BCH tattoos. They tell me that people have been asking them about BCH, and they've been onboarding people as well.
Yeah, so then walk me through the experience if somebody's coming for one of these tattoos, like start to finish. How do they find out about you? We already mentioned maybe a friend refers them, or I don't know if you have any other advertising you do, or if it's all referrals, but they're coming in. There may be, you know, you've got to prepare them. You've got to talk through with them, like what they want to do. I don't know if you do that on the spot or you do it the day before, or how you do that. And then when they come in, they take, you know, maybe there's multiple sessions. So in the case that there was sort of like multiple steps to the process, just give me an idea of how this all goes down, keeping in mind that, yeah, I've never even had a tattoo or been in a tattoo shop. So, and some of the listeners will be the same, right? So walk me through it.
Okay. If I'm actively, you know, promoting myself personally and not relying on promotion or referral for somebody else hit me up, I was driving down the street with these flyers. You know, I'm handing them out to people. Like, hey, here, you want a free tattoo? Check it out. And look at the list of, you know, these custom designs, or we can create another custom design specifically for you. And either you can hop in the car with me and I'll take you back to the club, or you can meet me, you know, we set an appointment, however you want to do it. And yeah, you get to the club, create the design. I print it out on a stencil paper, place the stencil on the skin, go over it with the tattoo machine, color it in, whatever, take a picture of it, create the certificate of authenticity based on the tattoo and the design, and have their signature. You know, I sign it and date it. And then I print out that certificate and I give them a laminated version of the certificate of authenticity, and I mint that certificate of authenticity as an NFT and give them the opportunity to purchase it.
Yeah. So with the NFTs extra then?
Yes. Like, I mean, I've been thinking about it. Like, I don't know if it'd be a better idea to just give the NFT to them, because I mean, I'm already giving them a free tattoo, and you know, they're getting the physical version of the certificate of authenticity. I feel like giving them an opportunity to purchase the NFT would just, you know, I don't know. It makes sense to me, but you know,
it makes sense to me too, actually. You know, because they say like people that pay attention, right? People that value things that they put some of their own money on the line for. I mean, that's also true that free has a certain attraction and advertising quality, but of course, like you said, if people are already getting a free tattoo, they're already getting this stuff for free, then maybe if there's a paid extra, it sort of helps them get invested in the whole process. It's like an upsell.
Yeah, because like I'm also giving them cash stamp as well. So
yes,
when I onboard them with the Sling wallet and the cash stamp, they have a couple dollars in Bitcoin Cash, and they can use that as what they need to purchase the NFT with.
So how much is that NFT?
I haven't even put any prices on them. Actually, I just been producing them and just putting them out there. I wanted to get a whole bunch of them before I started to like really like price them, because I wanted to price them as a collection, not necessarily singular.
Okay. All right, cool. And how are you doing that? Are you using Cash Token Studio, or what? How are you making the NFTs?
For all the Bitcoin Cash tattoos, NFTs, I'm using Cash Token Studio. Yeah.
Yes. Well, this a lot of this still. The reason I'm asking is because a lot of the tooling is still quite cutting edge, you know, in that way. It's not very refined, doesn't look very slick. It's not going to be like everyone's grandma is like minting up their own NFT collections just yet, which in a way is a benefit to you, really, because that's the pioneering spirit, right? You're offering something new and unique that by the time it catches on to everyone, it won't be so much of a selling point. Although then you're now going to benefit from having been able to prove that you were the original person who was making this a wildly popular thing. So then that can add on to your reputation, right? But of course, that only comes with using this stuff that is still, you know, a bit on the edge, bit still cutting edge, bit still under development. It's not all really refined, right? And so I love that you have that innovative spirit, and I think it's those initial users that then give. So for like Selene Wallet, the same, or for the Cash Token Studios, it's those same initial users who provide real feedback that then iterates it to the point that it can become a mass marketable product. So tell me how you've been doing with the Selene onboarding then. People who are already getting a tattoo clearly have already built up a bit of trust in you. And so I guess it's very easy to onboard them. What's the kind of experience they have? Do they then get curious and ask you questions about Bitcoin Cash, or are they more focused on the tattoo part, or do they get excited about the NFT? What's been your experience with that so far?
Honestly, man, it seems like people are pretty much excited about whatever I tell them about. like I put it to them in a way that, you know, not only educational, but a little bit entertaining as well, you know? So like, it's not boring when you're talking to me, and you get a lot of, you know, value as well. So to the point where like, especially like I got a free tattoo hanging in my hand, like I could tell them to, like I said, jump off a bridge. They're gonna do it. So when I tell them, hey, go download the Selene wallet, go download Paytaka, go download Purely Peer, like go subscribe to Bitcoin Cash podcast, like it's nothing to do it. Like they do it with no questions.
That's amazing. And then, but like, have you noticed any, you know, pattern at all? I mean, obviously, besides the fact that you're doing an excellent job, because not everybody is you, right? But the BCH community out there is always starving for new ideas and new ways. Everybody obviously has their own approach there in their own locality and their own, environment that they're doing. Not everybody's involved with tattooing people, right? But just anything that you have noticed which you think could be applied more generally by people who are introducing other people to BCH.
I'm sorry, you kind of lost me at the end of that question.
Yeah, so like let's say, if I said, like, I'm on this show, right? And sometimes I'm giving tips on like what I find is a good way to onboard people to BCH. But I can't say, okay, the first thing you got to do is have an Australian accent, because not everybody has an Australian accent, okay? I have that, so that works for me, but it's not going to work for everyone. But what I can say is like, okay, the first thing you want to do is, instead of getting straight into explaining the whole history of Bitcoin and like why the financial system is corrupt and everything like that, you've got to just give them the one sentence pitch. Okay, it's a currency, and then maybe mention like inflation. You've noticed that inflation is destroying all your money, right? And they go, yeah, I've noticed about that. And then you say, okay, so have you ever tried making a crypto transaction? Have you ever tried like Bitcoin? And then they have some sort of story, yes or no. And then you say to them, okay, download Salim Wallet. And then they kind of, sometimes they're a bit unsure, right? So then what I'll say is like, oh, okay, I'll answer a couple of questions, and then I'll say, hey, download this app. And then maybe they're kind of like, if they don't just pick up their phone and immediately want to download it, which sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't, then they will ask the questions that I will answer and get them comfortable. And then I'll show them. And then I'm trying to get to making that first transaction as fast as possible, because once they see that, the idea suddenly connects to them. Like whether they've asked one question or 10 questions beforehand, it doesn't matter. The transaction is where they'll be like, a light bulb will go on and they'll be like, wait, that was fast. That was easy. I didn't have to register for anything. I tell them about the seed phrase immediately right after that, because that's the one thing they have to kind of know. And then some people are kind of like, oh, that was cool, and then they want to move on to something else. Some people get really curious. They've got 10 more questions, right? So that's kind of like my general methodology of how I do it. Given that not everybody is operating in a world where they're getting people coming for free tattoos, do you have any thoughts or tips or tricks on how to onboard people?
Okay, well, for me personally, like when I first started trying to onboard people and explaining to them what cryptocurrency was and Bitcoin Cash was, I was like, hey, I got sponsored by Bitcoin Cash to do free tattoos on you. That being said, they're paying me in Bitcoin Cash to do this. When I receive payment at midnight and I wake up at 7 in the morning, and that $300 payment has grown to a $312 in my account balance, that shows the growth of the value of BCH. So that little example right there, they like, oh, okay, so the value of your money increased with the value of BCH. I said exactly, and I was like, and they're paying me with the BCH, and I said, you can exchange your dollars for BCH and watch your money increase with the value of BCH. And they like, oh, and I'm like, prime example, I got paid $300 last night. I woke up at 7 in the morning and it was $312. Like, not every growth or volatility is the same, but nonetheless, it goes to show you, how the value can and will increase. And I asked them, I said, have your dollars ever increased in value? And they was like, oh, I said, you're right. And I said, has your money ever got stuck in an account that Cash App or your bank account or somebody like just shut down? They was like, yeah. If it hadn't happened to them, it happened to somebody they knew.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's my point of being, dealing with decentralized currency. You can't nobody just come take your money out your account just because you said the wrong thing on the internet or because you caught a felony charge or whatever the case may be.
This Cammy could say hi on the show if he wants,
Oh, yeah, that was Cam for sure. Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt.
No, it's all good. Carry on.
Oh.
So you got Yeah, so you got then I guess those two kind of pitches. You got the value can increase over time. How do you handle it then if people are worried about volatility? That's something people say often, like, oh, but what if my money goes down then? What if they hit you back with that? Then what?
Oh, that's a good question too, because I mentioned the fact that me personally, I haven't invested in crypto. I've been investing in the methods of receiving crypto or earning crypto. So I encourage that to people that I interact with. I encourage, hey, it's not necessarily about investing into a cryptocurrency. It's actually about receiving it, earning it, and using it as an actual currency. Like that's what we're gearing towards for. And when they see that, when I explain to them like that, they like, okay, that makes more sense. Rather than trying to invest in a cryptocurrency, how about I just receive it, and then once I have it, I will be able to see the growth of it or the volatility of it, however it goes.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I think probably a big factor in this making this so successful, and it's the same thing I see as well too, is that then people want to know if you're practicing what you preach. And like you say, I've earned some BCH to give you this tattoo. So the loop connects in their mind, like, oh, you're actually not just, hyping up this thing because, you also got talked into it or something like that. You're actually practicing. Like the same thing happens with me with the podcast, right? People are kind of like, what is all this? What do you know? Blah, blah, blah. Like, who are you? How do you know about this? And I say, well, I have a podcast. And then sometimes they don't really want to download Salim. Well, they're not too interested in that, but they know like a podcast. They've heard of a podcast. So then they say, okay, cool. Let me check that out. And they load it up on their phone and they're like, oh, wait, you've got like, 3,000 YouTube subscribers, or they're like, holy shit, there's 150 episodes here or something like that. And then that immediately just gives them that confidence that I've made 150 episodes about this. This is not just like something I cooked up, this morning, or that I got sold by some YouTube ad like last night or something, And so I think that's really big, and everybody should always be trying to give back or contribute to the BCH ecosystem, because whenever you're trying to onboard people, to the extent that you can show them some proof that you were actually practicing what you're preaching, some proof of work you've done, and especially good is if you're getting paid in BCH, because then if you're paying to them, they understand that that's a loop, that's an economy, right? You must have got the money from someone else, and then you're giving it to them. They're naturally going to understand, okay, the next thing is for me to give it to the next person. Where if it's just like swapping it for dollars, it doesn't have that same, crypto to crypto transaction feel to it, right?
Right. Yeah, I definitely understand that. And as far as like, excuse me, when I tell them that I'm receiving Bitcoin Cash as payment for the sponsorship, and I tell them that I get to see the value of my account grow, whether I get to receive a payment or not, because the work that I'm doing will actively increase the value, over time. So like when they understand that, they like, oh, so you getting paid to pretty much promote and advertise, so that way the value of Bitcoin Cash as a whole increases and it spreads to the whole world. And I'm like, precisely. Like, like, and once they understand that, they be like, oh, okay. So if I get some Bitcoin Cash right now and hold it until the point to where the whole world is using it, then the value of my bank account would increase with the growth of
Proportional. Yeah.
And I said, yes,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
I explained. Once they get that, it's easy. It's easy. It's like
smooth sailing from there. All right, so I just want to go a little bit more on the fund me. So I want to give a quick shout out to some of your funders at Cash Stamps. Put in 1 BCH, Majamalu, 4 BCH, Turek 0.75, Cash Dragon 0.14. I put in 2 BCH, Anonymous 0.01, Purely Peer 0.21, and Callisti.cash 0.4. So between that all, that was 8.5 BCH, which has then funded 1 month of your time at the studio and 5 free tattoos. Like we said, it's a couple $100 for each tattoo on average, and doing some social media promotion and photos and everything related to it. So tell me how that's been going. I guess, when did this get funded? I wish there was a date on here. Should
tell
be,
you
but it was a couple of weeks ago.
It was July 3rd. It was actually exactly
1 month.
Yep. And
All right.
I did all 5 of the tattoos with, plenty of time to spare. I had, I was traveling back and forth from Indiana to Vegas. Like, I was dealing with court situations, all type of stuff, but I still managed to, deliver my deliverables. And I still got, one more day, because I believe, it's 31 days in July. That's when it got started. And I feel like, I got to at least do the whole 31 days in the month, So I plan on doing some BCH tattoos today, actually. So I'm going to see how many I can get done.
All right, cool. And we've been doing signups on your website. That also seems to have been popular. We've already got like leads coming in there. Tell me about that. Has that like surprised you, or did you just expect that would also be easy to just drive people's interest?
Yeah, like it was like the greatness of it is really expected. Like, I prepared for it. Like, I said, you know what? I know how many people are gonna want these tattoos. I know a lot of people are gonna want some free tattoos. I just need to make a a smooth transition and something that I can have all the information in one spot, and so I can present it as well to show you guys, like, look how many people that want these tattoos. Like, we need to fund this, like that type of deal. And I literally, like, I've been doing this 15 years, when it comes to advertising for myself and my business, not even myself, but other business, other tattoo shops that I worked in. Marketing and advertisement is like, it goes hand in hand with tattooing, especially when you're your own business. So, like, I kind of expected this type of feedback, and once I see it, I was just like, "Yep, see, told you." Like, just give me the chance. Like, for sure.
Yeah, so we're hitting like the end of the 1 month period. Then, do you have a plan for what's going forward in the next month? Are you going to do a second flip starter? Are you going to, I don't know, pitch the community to maybe do some donations? Do you have, I mean, the price of BCH has gone up a little bit. Maybe you have some spare funding, I don't know, to do a few more. Like, what's the game plan from here?
Honestly, man, I really want to like lock in with this BCH community, and like I said, I went and bought this tie. I designed this tie, and I've got so many compliments on it. So many people have been scanning it, like signing up for tattoos. Like, when I tell y'all I'm in this for the long haul, like, I appreciate y'all so much for believing in me as much as y'all have been. Like, y'all just met me not even 2 months ago, like, and y'all trusted me, y'all invested in me, y'all believe in me, and that means so much to me, for real, to the point to where it's like, I gotta show y'all appreciation. I gotta go above and beyond. Like the tattoos the last 5 tattoos that I did were like well over what I would normally charge for typical $150 tattoo, and I wanted to do that just to show you guys how devoted I am and invested I am into the BCH community. And I want to do this, perpetually, indefinitely. Like, if we can set up something to where we can do this, on a consistent basis for the next 5 years until BCH is the #1 cryptocurrency in the world, like, that's what I want to do. That's how I'm stepping. Like, I see the impact that I'm having on my community, the Black community, the urban community. I see it as clear as day, how they go from not knowing nothing about crypto to, having crypto in their pocket and being able to explain it to the next person how to invest in crypto or earn crypto, like, and how to, what would it take to make Bitcoin Cash the #1 global cryptocurrency.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, because I'm just thinking, it's just only speaking for myself, obviously, but I've seen this really has been quite powerful because the BCH community have always been trying to find different ways to onboard people and different ways to hook people. And on average as well, the community is a little more like you have, engineering and marketing, right? Your company always has two sides. It's like left and right brain. It's, making the product and then delivering it. So we've always been a little bit better on the building side. I mean, everything's not perfect, don't get me wrong, right? But the community has plenty of engineers, plenty of good tech, plenty of stuff that could find a lot of use, but hasn't been so strong. There's some good efforts, and actually things have been improving a lot over the last couple of years, but we still got to hit, real hard on the promotion side. And this seems to, for whatever reason, like you're saying, it's the right circumstances, right place, right time, right idea. I don't know, but it does seem to be getting traction. So being my entrepreneurial brain then immediately thinks, okay, if this is working, how can we get this more resources and how can we scale it up? Because I guess you've only got so many hours in the day. You can only do so many tattoos. Talk to me about that. Do you have other tattoo artists you work with or could potentially work with, or what's the story there if we were going to scale this up?
I'm glad you asked that, because before I went to travel to Indiana, I stopped at a tattoo supply store, and I was just pretty much talking about what I'm doing. I onboarded him too, actually. He got a Celine wallet, but I'm telling him about my sponsorship and everything I got going on with BCH, and he was like he been tattooing about 8 years at the time, and most tattoo artists, more than likely all tattoo artists, have pretty much been in the same business boat when it comes to business structure. They would have to promote themselves, promote their business, and try to get people, consumers, to spend their hard-earned money to buy a tattoo that they do not need. Like, no one needs tattoos, but our job as tattoo artists is to convince you to spend your money that you work hard for every day on some shit that you don't need. Being a good tattoo artist, you're having good art, it makes it easier, but at the same time, nonetheless, it's still a challenge when it comes to that time where it might be a couple weeks dry and you have to actually do some promotion to pay your bills. And at that point that's when you like, hey, I gotta ask somebody to spend their money that on some shit that they don't need. And it's like, good luck, so now though, this opportunity has flipped the entire tattoo business structure for me and other tattoo artists as well. When I spread the word, being able to offer free tattoos and get compensated ahead of time or after, whatever, it's such a better feeling, and it gives a person or artist so much more room to and motivation and energy to promote, because they're not just trying to get someone to spend their money. They want to give away this something free. They want to give away this knowledge and information, and that feeling is more valuable than receiving the fiat money for a tattoo.
Yeah, I guess you're instantly in a sort of abundant mindset as a result of that. But I mean, you got to balance that against like the money's not coming from nowhere, right? There's people on the other side of that. So you haven't, it's like any business, you haven't really fixed you haven't changed. You've just moved, from one side to the other kind of thing. So go on.
I was gonna say, it's just a so much better feeling, when you've been doing these tattoos and promoting this way for 15 years, trying to get somebody to pay for something that they don't need, and to flip it into now say, hey, I'm gonna give you something that you want for free, and I'm gonna get paid for it regardless. So, and I want to give you this information that's gonna change your life. That's a so much better feeling than to ever have to, hey, you got $50? I'll give you, a name for $50. It's like, oh man, it's just not it.
Yeah. I can see how it's making the pitch easier. So like you were saying before, that you've invested in getting the studio time and getting some startup equipment and stuff like that. does that mean it will be more efficient from here on out in terms of the number of tattoos for the amount of donations?
Oh, definitely. Like the first funding was great, and 5 tattoos was awesome as well. But honestly, bro, I can do a lot more than 5 tattoos in a month for sure. I did 20 in less than a week. So I just look at that, and I'm getting more traction, more feedback, more people looking to get these tattoos, and I'm just like, if I got funded to do all these tattoos, I would do every one of them and do above and beyond of the Call of Duty, just because I'm so thankful of the opportunity and the gratitude that I have. I must express it.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I'm, conscious of, just as a BCH adopter as well as a FundMe contributor, is obviously you do the first round and you want to see some results. And so then if you're doing a second pitch, like the same way I do the podcast, I did like 75 episodes of the show, and then I put up my first funding, and then every series of episodes we have to prove, okay, we did the episodes, we've grown the show, etc., etc. So if you do another FundMe, and I don't know if you have plans to do that, but it sounds like maybe you do, then you'll be able to show, okay, this is the results that we've got. But one thing that you've got past is the initial hurdle of getting people interested, getting people on board, and that's huge. But there needs to be a second step, which is then they need to become like part of the ecosystem. They need to become regular users. They need to become, excited about it. Do you have any sort of data or insight into the people that you've given these? Now you've done the 25 and then the other 5, like from that pool of people, besides getting referrals for more free tattoos, have you had more interest in BCH, or how did that play out?
Definitely. I got like a whole group chat on Instagram that we talk pretty much every other day about Bitcoin Cash, and I make sure they had all wallets, and I taught them how to send money to each other. So like it's like 10 girls like in this group chat, and they all send it to each other to get familiar with it and understand how it works and see the value in comparison to when you send it, you have to send actual Bitcoin, or if you send in Cash App or whatever, like without the transaction fees and having the possibility of your money getting stuck or all that. And it's been very receptive, and like we planning on having a meetup here soon. I want to get to at least like maybe 50 tattoos, 50 BCH. So we have 50 members that could come in to the crypto club, and we talk about Bitcoin Cash, and do some activities, probably do another tattoo or something, probably have a raffle, just have something that's fun, engaging, entertaining, as well as educational. And to have it in the Bitcoin club, or the Bitcoin Beans crypto club, to have that in here is invaluable, because like not only am I here, because I'm not the best educator, but we got so many other people in here that know so much about crypto in general that like it's perfect for, it's a perfect storm.
Yeah, tell me a bit about the crypto club. So I know Callisti was very, very impressed with the vibes when he was there. He was like, wow, it's really cool. And, it's really like a bit underground. It's got those vibes, which crypto needs, right? Of course, how's it going to compete with the big, legacy finance? It's got to be a bit cool. It's got to be a bit hip. It's got to be a little bit rough around the edges. That's how it always has been. And hopefully that's how it always will be, at least at the fringes, even as it becomes more mainstream. So talk to me about how big is this club? How many people are showing up there every week? You're doing tattooing. What else is going on there?
Right. Okay, well, we just had our first, grand opening yesterday. So I can't really speak about, the actual business or how it's been going, because we haven't actually been in business. Yeah. But like the trajectory is, skyrocketed, because like this grand opening, I know it was at least 100 people. Like, these are like top executive founders, owners of either a crypto space or a Bitcoin building, or like they're heavily involved. And like to be able to speak to them and introduce to them to Bitcoin Cash, a lot of them were already familiar, and some of them were holders of Bitcoin Cash as well. I did a tattoo on a girl yesterday. I did a actual BTC tattoo, but she paid me in Bitcoin Cash.
Let's go. That's a W right there. BCHW. Woo!
Yeah. And I see this happening more often than not in the future, because like this is the crypto club. Like this is where all the crypto people of Vegas will be. Like, and not only just Vegas, because people were coming from all over America just to be here for the grand opening. Like, and I know for a fact it's going to be more and more people, celebrities, and just, you know, people that's going to come here, especially with me being an attraction. Like not to say, you know, crypto isn't, you know, exciting or enticing, but I'm pretty sure tattoo shop would probably warrant more traffic, you know, and they have a tattoo shop in the crypto club. So like, it's just a matter of time before, you know, all the crowd and attention that I'm going to bring is going to come through that door, and they're not going to be thinking about necessarily crypto, but once they get here, they're going to open their mind to it, and then they're definitely going to be introduced to Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, amazing. So tell me then, what's the else is going on? Like, okay, you had this grand opening party, you're doing the tattoos, I understand that, but as far as I'm aware, like it's a pretty big space. There's also other space so there'll be kind of events and meetups. Is there maybe other tattoo artists going to be in there? Is there going to be like musicians or you know, regular like visual artists or something? Like, what else is the game plan here? I know it's just open and all, but
yeah, they were definitely, like, we had performing artists yesterday, rappers, singers. We had a lot of we had panel. Bitcoin Ben went up there and interviewed a few people. They asked him a few questions. It was, like I said, it was a lot of crypto enthusiasts and, you know, CEOs and stuff that were there, interested in, you know, listening to Bitcoin Ben and Ken Bozak talking about everything there is to know about crypto. And like, the entire space is not just for, you know, crypto education, but also crypto content created. Crypto related. You know what I'm trying to say?
yes. Like this podcast, we're doing it right now. You're already living the dream. You got your little podcast studio set up there. You got the BCH podcast logo in the background. I love it, man.
You see? Yeah, for sure. Like, and like this space is like, it's so versatile. Like, as far as, you know, like you say, talk about meetups, event spaces. Like, you got a platform. It's not a stage. It's a platform for performing artists and spoken word and poetry. Like, anything you want, it's a vibe for that. And we got an area for it. And then we also have other physical artists, not just, you know, tattoo artists, but physical artists, painter, Sergi, the Do What You Love artist out of Miami. Me and him are collabing to do, you know, I'm doing Do What You Love related tattoos in exchange for, you know, crypto and crypto education as well. And I'm marketing that to, like, you know, pretty much his followers, you know, but we're also using it as a way to teach them about crypto as well. So it's like, hey, come get a free tattoo to support Sergi and Do What You Love. While you're getting a tattoo, we're going to be educating you about crypto. And specifically, when you get a tattoo from me, I'm going to be introducing you to BCH.
Yeah, of course. Does it have like a restaurant? Does it have a liquor license? What's the food and drink type of situation?
Okay. If I'm not mistaken, because we're in the middle of it's like a business, it's like two buildings. I don't know. we're in the center of a business called Barter Beer Mall, and they have a liquor license. So through association, we allow people to drink, but not necessarily serve them liquor. But don't quote me for real, because like,
yes, no. I'm just curious. I'm just trying to get a bit of a vibe of what this place is like, like a crypto club is quite an innovative, it's a catchy name, like you said, but that's not a common thing, I have no expectations about how big it is or what's going on there. So I'm just trying to get the vibe, a venue with food or with alcohol is obviously going to have a bit of a different vibe as well too. So, okay. I'm sure that will work itself out over time as well too, anyway.
Oh yeah, for sure. We serve. We have vendors to come in and serve food for sure, and then like I said, we're attached to a building that has a liquor license, and we're allowed to drink here. If I'm not mistaken, like I said, don't quote me because I'm not even a drinker, so I wouldn't really know.
Yeah, like you said, there's people who maybe can bring in their beers from outside or something like that. And who runs Bitcoin Ben's crypto club? Is it Bitcoin Ben or Ken Bozak? Who's running the shop?
Bitcoin Ben's crypto club is run by a combination of Ken Bozak, Annalise, Bamboo, Bobcat, VG, Miggy, and me, and I.
There you go. Okay, so you got a little collective going on there. This sounds very artsy and creative,
Exactly. And not only is it artsy creative, but it's very educational as well. Like all these people are like highly intelligent and very well versed in crypto. Like, and if it's like, because I'm an intelligent person, but I'm inexperienced in the crypto world. So as I get more experience, it allows me to see, the levels of intelligence that I have to reach when it comes to crypto. And like, it's really exciting to be around them because like every day I'm learning something, and not only learning something, but they allow me to create ideas and then, bounce them off of each other, and they give me great feedback, and it's just an amazing feeling to be a part of it.
All right, talk to me about the idea of cultural change. Obviously, the BCH community has its plan to revolutionize the world, and I actually on this show have been a huge proponent of trying to change people's minds about cryptocurrency, about BCH, specifically with music, with art. A lot of like the Bliss stuff is around that and so forth. And I think you're kind of on the same vibe here, and you wrote about that in your original Fund Me proposal. So I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on where cultural change can be impacted with BCH and obviously through your tattooing.
Right. See, it's going to take the culture to change for it to be a real global impact on, with crypto, because as best of my knowledge, like the urban community, the hip hop community, hip hop is the #1 marketing agent in the world. And that's founded by the urban Black community. And so to be able to channel, our objective, our marketing strategy directly to the urban hip hop community, it's invaluable. Because that's what it's going to take to really change the world. We're going to have to reach the urban community and make them adopt it on a grand scale for anybody else to really have the true effect that we're looking for. I believe that, as far as the, economic knowledge that I have and the business experience that I have, if the urban community hasn't adopted it, it's not going to, become,
not going to be cool, not going to be the it thing. Yeah.
Literally, hip hop makes what's cool in the world to a certain degree. And I feel like everything else is on a level of coolness lower than that. You know what I mean? And for us in crypto, especially Bitcoin Cash, for us to be the first, urban hip hop, directed crypto, with what we're doing in the future, what I'm planning on and preparing to do, we will be the very first, directly urban grassroots, program or initiative that's going to obtain or retain onboarding and new users. Man, I get excited when I talk about it because I see it clear as day. You know, like my words start to jumble because like I'm getting overwhelmed with excitement because I see it. It's clear as day. Like the moment that, you know, the urban community adopts Bitcoin Cash, it's going to be the #1 crypto in the world. Period. Like,
yeah. So tell me about that. I love the hype and the enthusiasm, and I agree. I think this is a promising grounds for BCH. So either pragmatically, like what you've already got planned, or in the future, if you know time and money were no object, how would you go about doing this?
okay, I'm glad you asked because like I already started, you know, with the Bitcoin Cash hip hop music videos, you know, like, and I feel like I'm getting very good traction on those. And
Yeah,
that's
can we
just
pull that up actually, Jet? Can you pull that up? I mean, I know we had the video that I linked. I'm not sure if that was the same one or not, but if you can find that, that'd be good. Anyway, go on.
yeah, to be able to, you know, have a niche, you know, directive with the hip hop music videos, that's where I'm starting at. And then I'm also want to create a pretty much a hip hop urban Bitcoin Cash podcast as well. You know, one to like pretty much piggyback off what you already doing, you know, and probably, you know, watch the Bitcoin Cash podcast on the, you know, urban podcast and use that as a reference point and dissect it and put it in a terminology that, you know, the urban community would be able to understand and gravitate to. Because like you're cool and all, but you know,
I'm not black. I know that, man. It's all good. I understand, you know.
no,
I'm not Eminem either.
yeah, that too. It's just, you know, it's a lot easier for me to reach my people than it would be for you, you know, and like it's kind of no brainer. And then,
yeah,
like,
no, that's hype. I think that would be super cool. You know, I would love that. Obviously, anyway, I'm very happy to have you, you know, reacting to my stuff or putting it out there, or you know, I'm sure maybe even if it started that, it's a good, you know, jumping off point. But I'm sure before too long, it would create its own whole whole new culture and schema that's inevitable, right?
exactly, because like I got streaming buddies, people that stream and you know be online all day, every day talking shit. So I'm like, bro, talk shit about Bitcoin Cash. Like that's what we need to be talking about, bro. Like that's the future, bro. Like you talking about video games and you know big booty bitches. Like we don't need to hear about that. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I really like have been encouraging them and like they already been watching your videos and reacting to them and gathering up, you know, content for the preparation of this. And they're becoming educated and understanding what the objective is to the point to where once they've got, you know, a few more weeks of education experience, I'm going to put together, you know, probably, I don't know what I'm gonna call it yet, you know, but it's going to be, you know, a urban Bitcoin Cash, you know, podcast pretty much. And oh, matter of fact, I did think my guy gave me a name. Tell me what you think about this. Tell me what you think about this. I kind of like he called it the Hip Folks to Crypto podcast.
Okay. All right. Yeah, hip folks to crypto. It's like got a half rhyme in there. You know, I wonder if that could be tweaked to get like a full. Let me think for a minute. Hip folks, crypto. I like that it's got the half rhyme, so it's catchy. It almost has like a iambic pentameter, like a 1-bar flow to it. I can see it.
And
folks to crypto, but what if it's a show? Because if then you get that same O sound in there. The hip folks to crypto
show
knowledge and show, or it needs. I'm missing a middle word there. The hip folks to crypto show. Yeah, I don't know. hip folks to crypto flow and show, or something like that, you know.
Yeah. I like that for sure. I'm gonna make sure my guy he sees this interview and he's gonna be excited. He's gonna be super excited because like he called my phone like 2 a.m, woke me up, and I'm like, "What's up, bro?" He's like, "Hip folks to crypto." I'm like, what? I'm like, Oh, yeah, that is it. Because like that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to hip folks to crypto. Like, you know what I mean? And like the fact that hip and hip hop, like, you know, it all kind
Yes.
of, you know,
Yeah, it's a pun. Yeah, it's a play on
it
words. Yeah. The hip
exactly.
folks to crypto shit talk and show, like show and tell. Because then that's also a pun, right? It's show and tell as well as a
Exactly.
podcast show. All right. All right. I like that. I like that, you know?
Good.
Damn.
I'm glad to hear it because like he's super excited, and I'm telling him like of the opportunities that's, you know, he's involved in. I tell him about my whole sponsorship and how it came about, and I'm like, listen, bro, if you follow what I'm telling you, do what I say, step by step, you're guaranteed to, you know, be successful in what we're trying to do. Like I got the blueprint, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like I followed the blueprint that was given to me, and the results are, you know, astronomical. So if you follow this same blueprint, I can guarantee you the same results, bro. Like, and they excited and like pretty convinced for sure. Like I said, I got them recording videos as we speak. You know, I got a guy in Indiana, Texas, Arkansas, and Florida, and they all are actively right now recording videos of themselves reacting to your Bitcoin Cash videos, and not only reacting to them, but like, you know, kind of breaking them down into layman's terms. You know what I'm saying? It's expressing it to the people that they're reaching out to. You know, and I'm excited to gather it all up and then present it, you know, and show you guys like, hey, we're trying to create the Hip Folks to Crypto podcast or show, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Don't listen to me. You do it how you want to do it. You know, I'm just riffing.
No, I'm gonna listen to you. I listen to you this far, and everything's been working out, man. So I'm not gonna stop.
All right. Well, this is the first I've heard of this plan to be doing, you know, spin-off podcasts and stuff. We definitely got to talk more about that. I mean, I'll be your first sponsor, that's for sure. I love it. I love it. This is excellent. You just yeah, like you said, when you got something, you know, a little something to show me, I love it. And I could already see it. I think the Bitcoin Cash community would love that too. I'm sure that would be amazing. So
yeah, we need like they clearly know, they gotta know that's what we need. Like I've been in this space for less than 2 months, and I walk around and I talk to everybody, and the writings on the wall, like the writings on the wall, like there's not enough diversity in the crypto world. So how you gonna fix that? Me. Like up until now, what have you guys done to fix that problem?
yeah, well, it is a big problem in the sense that crypto is kind of in a weird spot because it's global and it is at a like technical level accessible. Like the blockchain doesn't give a shit where you're from or any, you know, details of your demographics or anything like that. So it is open to everyone, but at the same time, the way a message is communicated obviously resonates with different people in different ways over time, right? So the point that we've got to now, and especially, you know, BCH actually pretty good. If you take a look at my podcast listener like stats, like it is covering, you know, most of the world actually, which is pretty incredible because we only do it sort of in English and we haven't really got around to putting out like translated versions or anything like that. But it still has a very strong like demographic bent. The same way like men, it's overwhelmingly men, and at some point we're going to need someone like you to come along who's a woman who can also bring the message in that way. You know, we haven't quite hit on the, or maybe it could be you. I don't know. You can chat them up, you know. I don't know.
Like 80% of my clients are female. Like unless I like them out, like, hey, bro, let me tattoo you. The people that are reaching out to me are typically female. So like to have young, you know, urban females that, you know, can be a part of this community is going to be a game changer for sure.
It would be. It absolutely would be, you know. And these things, yeah, it just needs to be the right person at the right time, because that kind of authenticity, it's hard to fake. It's very, very hard to fake. So
and I'm pulling up, keeping it too real, like, and it's like, oh, like they love me so much because my authenticity, you feel me? And there's no gimmicks behind it, there's no scam. Like, you know, if I'm giving you a free tattoo, I'm giving you this education, like what can I possibly be gaining out of scamming you? Like there is none of that. Like they and then like you know, people tend to, want to be friends with their tattoo artists, and it's like, the more friendly they are with the tattoo artists, it's like, trying to get more discounts or more ink or whatever, and it's like, yeah, okay, be friendly, keep on being friendly, learn this as your friend. Let me teach you this, now as your friend, being a friend to me, teach what I taught you to somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we need. So I think there's so much, there's so much potential in all this. So do you have, I mean, you're hyping me up right now on the show. Like, do you know you're going to run another Fund Me campaign, or what's the next steps? Your 31 days is up tomorrow. Then what?
I was preparing for the second campaign, following, your blueprint, seeing, how, pretty much every 10 episodes you funded. And I thought that was a great format. And I felt like that was something that was realistic for me as well, to be able to do this continually, perpetually. But for me to be able to produce more than just 5 tattoos, though, honestly, like, because I did 7 in one day, I did 20 in less than a week, so for me to do 5 in a month, it's like you are not.
You're underusing the engine. This is like not even first gear here.
Let me flap my wings.
Yeah,
like that's
hell yeah.
I really want to be able to produce more for BCH community, because I'm like, I already am. I'm already intended. I'm going all in. Like, I'm talking to people about it every single day. Like I had to get this. Like, this is, you understand? Like, I was like, ooh, I need to make a tie that has BCH on it. Like, and everywhere I go, people like are so like drawn to this tie. Like, what is this about? And what's BCH? And they get to scanning it, they be like, oh, okay. And then, like I said, wildfire snowball effect. Like, every single time, like, they're gonna be hitting me back up, and they're gonna be learning about Bitcoin Cash, and they're going to be, before it's all said and done, they're gonna be enthusiastic about it, because like, I'm looking like, I want to do a BCH tattoo party or event meetup every month, and they're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be value at those meetups. I want to be able to, give people so much education or value in interacting with me that they want to interact with me every opportunity they get.
Yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah.
I believe that, the BCH community, us together, we can create more opportunities for them to interact with me, and to put them hooks in to them becoming real BCH enthusiasts.
Yeah, I love it. That's the mission. That's what we're here for. Okay, well, we only got 20 minutes left, so I want to get in a couple other quick topics before we wrap the show. This week, there's been this sudden rise in sort of internet censorship and control, which is something we follow on the show as it goes, along. Like, the YouTube have announced that they're starting to use AI to analyze user psychology and then flag people who are potentially underage. Now, if you get inadvertently caught into this filter, then you have the option to verify that you are over 18 to, escape it, or using your government ID. There's also been this UK Online Safety Act, which has prompted Spotify, among other sites, to add face scanning, age verification for mature content. And in Australia, my disgraceful homeland, they've added YouTube to this list of minor banned sites, which included a bunch of other things, but had an exception for YouTube, and they've got rid of that. So, I mean, nobody is kind of against trying to protect children, but there's always kind of the element that that's how they kind of bait the hook, and they get these controls in, and then, as always, it becomes a who guards the guards type of situation, once something is supposedly keeping people safe, but then if everybody has increasing, control, like, the internet has already become far less anonymous than it used to be, right? It used to be crazy. Everybody just posting online under screen names and all that. Now it's like you can look up basically anyone. You can look for photos of them. You can find, well, what's that going on? And if, you know, the NSA is already, you know, stealing everyone's data and stuff like that was all leaked in the Snowden stuff. And then now it's going to be getting even worse with different corporations doing government IDs and AI analysis of what everybody is up to all the time. So this definitely seems like a worrying trend from the liberty and freedom perspective. What do you make of all this?
Well, for me, like you say, censorship and control is definitely important, you know, when it comes to, you know, children. And I gotta speak on personal experience myself. Like my son is 6 and he got caught doing some inappropriate stuff, and they asked him where he learned that from. He said YouTube. So that right there is like a prime example. And I'm really all for this, you know, but I'm a little, you know, apprehensive because, you know, they have to use AI and you have to do some, you know, covert, you know, stuff to accomplish this mission. And it's like you said, who's gonna guard the guards? Like, what are they gonna do with this information or this, you know, technology and ability that's going to, you know, change things? What are they gonna do with that control?
And I mean, one angle to this, which is it's always, hard to nail it, how hard to pick it right, is that these things do somewhat always seem to be a little bit coordinated. Like all of these little bits of news have all come out in the last week or two since we did the last episode. And okay, the world's a big place. Sometimes just, you know, seemingly related things happen at the same time. But for the more conspiratorially minded, it does seem a little, you know, there are no coincidences.
Exactly. There's no such thing as a coincidence, literally.
Jet, what do you make of all this? Have you been following some of this stuff?
I haven't. I don't really like any of this. Like the day that Spotify asks me to upload an ID, all right, there's my account gone. Like the day YouTube's like, all right, buddy, we're gonna need a scan of your face. Listen, I'll still live stream things. I'll still do what I can, but I'm deleting my YouTube account. Like I will not play these games. I will not give them an inch. Like, and I was a unsupervised, you know, child with the internet, and did some stupid things. But like, shit works out in the end. Like,
right,
if you got decent parents, if you have a decent society around you, it doesn't matter like what the video games are that the kids are playing or shit like that. Like, it just feels like a rehash of like when GTA first came out and they were like, think of their kids, they're gonna be, I don't know, beating up hookers and driving people down on sidewalks. Like, no one does that shit.
But wait a minute, so you don't think that GTA has influenced our youth? Like, to the point
it has, but I don't think that it's caused any additional violence. I don't think it's caused any like.
That's a big statement. None.
Right. None. Like, bro.
So if someone already has like a predisposition to mental illness or something like that, and they get exposed to something, like, sure, they might go off the rails. But that was going to happen regardless of if it's GTA or The Sopranos or some like someone spilled milk, right? Like, I don't think that media can be to blame for anyone's actions.
I mean, I always think of that Eminem lyric, you know, if music can alter moods and talk to you, can it hold a gun for you and cock it too? If it can, the next time you assault a dude, just tell the judge it was my fault and I'll get sued. You know, like that's a great line and it really captures a lot of thinking around this topic, you know?
Okay, now my response to that is, okay, I get that. On a conscious level, you can't be consciously, you know, commanded or controlled by the music, but on a subconscious level, like, you get to hearing the same, you know, murder music on repeat, you know, in your head for years, you know, subconsciously, you're gonna react the same way your brain has been subconsciously programmed. Like if all you hear is, okay, every song you hear somebody getting robbed, you hear the retaliation is to kill that person, right?
Yeah.
The moment that you get robbed, your initial subconscious reaction is to kill that person because you've been subconsciously programmed to, you know, kill whoever robs you.
So what if it's just that we need more exposure to more things rather than silos, right? Like, because yeah, we see like with the everyone, I mean, less so now, but the whole Andrew Tate shit a couple, like maybe even a year ago, where people were like, all these young kids are just turning into a bunch of misogynists now. And it's like, I am certainly not going to be one to promote Andrew Tate, but I can listen to it and not be like, oh, he's a XYZ thing, because I saw him first on the Your Mom's House podcast, and it was like, okay, he's clearly playing into this character. And so like, if someone gets robbed and they're used to hearing like your first reaction if you're robbed is to go and kill that person, then maybe they just need someone else to go, hey, you have other options. Like, you don't need to go and kill someone, right? Like,
right.
But
I completely agree. I just feel like you said, it's not enough positive, you know, reinforcement to counteract that negative subconscious programming. Like, but that's like by design though. They like
yeah, the algorithm.
fun, the positive, you know, like they're gonna kill anybody that's being too positive and too influential. Like, rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. Like, that's my whole point of mentioning Nipsey Hussle to bring up in that slide, because one of the last things he was talking about before he got killed was cryptocurrency. And like, that was really brushed under the rug. Like, I just found that out a couple days ago that Nipsey Hussle was really big into cryptocurrency. He had invested into a coin called Follow Coin. I don't know what happened to it. It probably ended up getting, you know, dismantled by the government, because the government's intentions are to, you know, dismantle anything that's, you know, too positive, too black, you know, and too influential. Like, we've been seeing that since the beginning of time, the beginning of American history. Anytime somebody too black, too positive, and too influential gets to speaking too loud about the wrong subjects, they get killed. Like, and Nipsey Hussle, for example, at first he was speaking about holistic health and Dr. Sebi. If you heard anything about them, you know, about, you know, basically they would, if people were using, you know, Dr. Sebi's health methods, then that would pretty much eradicate the pharmaceutical industry. And that was, you know, a big thing. Like, okay, yeah, if he speaking about dismantling the pharmaceutical industry, of course he got a target on his back. But then I learned more recently that he was speaking about cryptocurrency, which is bigger than the pharmaceutical industry. So I said, oh yeah, that's why he died. It wasn't about the pharmaceutical industry. It was about him having the influence and power to change the entire financial banking system of the world, like, quite literally. Like, so, like, that's when I told you, Jeremy, I said, bro, they might try to kill me, bro. Like,
yes,
where I'm,
I was just about to ask you worried about that?
Yeah, I told you that last month when we talked. I'm like, bro, I could be a target for what I'm about to be doing, because I see it, like, you know. And you was like, well, they probably want to kill me first. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, you ain't black.
True.
I'm like speaking completely out of my element here, but do you think, I know Tyler has like lyrics referencing it, but just that there is like industry plants in hip hop, in like black dominated genres, made to be violent and made to like get people into this like aggressive, I don't know,
culture,
frame of mind or whatever. Yeah.
Tricks. Like, it's literally all, okay, we're gonna promote you to promote this violent, negative crime music. Everybody that listens to your music is gonna be a negative, crime-driven person. They're gonna go to prison. The same people that fund the musicians own the prisons. So they get paid for people to be prisoners, and they're paying artists to promote prison mentality.
It's the marketing budget, yeah.
Yeah, and it's all going full circle, like, literally. So, like you say, like I say, when you include anybody that's, you know, counterproductive to this system, that format, they kill them. And I know what I'm about to do is what I'm doing is counterproductive to everything that they're trying to do. And I might die, but we all gotta die. And I'd rather die going out in a way that's gonna benefit my children rather than just, getting killed on some bullshit or even dying on my deathbed naturally. I'd rather get shot in the face doing something that's purposeful and has a real impact than to die on my deathbed and don't have an impact.
Oh, fingers crossed it doesn't come to that.
I think I want to shoot a message after the podcast because I've got some questions. But I don't having this public audience. I don't want to be an idiot or ask something that might be a little too personal or show my ignorance. So
we'll talk offline. All right. I just want to quickly mention one thing in the other BCH news. I'm just gonna rip through these, but Jomar and the Paytaka team are considering running an event in the Philippines in March 2026 called Cash 3.0. So if you're interested in that, we had a lot of people at Bliss who were saying, oh, it's run in Europe, but I'm in Japan or I'm in Australia or I'm somewhere else. Like, could Bliss maybe be in another part of the world? The answer is no, it's still going to be in Europe. It's a European event and that's working for us. So we're going to stick with that. But in terms of having more events around the world, obviously the BCH Argentina team might be hosting one next year. And Jomar is also stepping up with his team potentially. He's currently canvassing interest. So if you're interested in this kind of thing, definitely let him know because that might help turn it into a reality. There's also ThorChain have been looking into integrating cash tokens, which is pretty hype because that will, help fund and produce a lot of the infrastructure that we need for cash tokens to hit exchanges. And then BCH is really becoming a full ecosystem player. Badgers have hit 300 BCH TVL, which I was personally pretty impressed by. China have banned Bitcoin for the millionth time. They ban it every 6 months and it never changes anything. Like the corrupt people who are involved are unhindered and the ones who are not involved are not involved. And El Salvador president Nayib Bukele has changed some laws, through whatever process to make it possible to be indefinitely re-elected in El Salvador, and that individual terms are now 6 years. This is of course relevant because of the BTC's community's big adoption drive over there, and given the mentality of sort of freedom and liberty, there was a lot of criticism about him as a dictator, which is now sort of coming to pass in real time. So some of them are doubling down and coping on that, and some of them are kind of saying, guys, what have we got ourselves involved in here? So that's just a long-running follow-up from the podcast who Chet, I'm sure we've done many episodes. There would be at least 3 or 4 episodes where we covered that this exact kind of thing might happen, right? So another classic podcast prediction comes true. I don't know if you have any thoughts on any of this, OOTATT, just quickly, or if not, we can get on to meme of the week.
Well, something I wanted to mention is the fact that Bitcoin Ben is creating a crypto club in El Salvador as well.
Damn, is he? I didn't know about that.
Yeah, like literally, like we're gonna have a club just like this in El Salvador, but it's gonna be not just a club, a whole resort.
Oh,
so,
shit.
I'm not sure how big it's gonna be, but like, yeah.
Damn. Well, I think that will have probably, I mean, for the criticism that I'm saying, on the other hand, Bukele does genuinely seem sort of fairly pro-crypto and tolerant to it. I guess it's working in his favor. There was also some stuff, I don't know the details, I haven't followed it closely enough, about whether or not the IMF loans, like he previously had sort of told the IMF to get lost, and he was just going to keep buying Bitcoin. And then they were like, well, you do actually need our bailout money. And so then he sort of had to walk it back or something. So, I mean, I wish Bitcoin Ben good luck with that club. I think probably a risky but potentially high payoff endeavor, because if there's already a bit of traction and there's already, rich investors that want to go down there and have a holiday, could make a lot of sense. But also, sounds like things could change fast and suddenly it might not be so much on the cards. I don't know.
I don't know, but I think I heard somewhere saying like El Salvador is like backed by Bitcoin now instead of like their currency, they're backed by Bitcoin?
Well, they made a law that said it was usable as legal tender so that you could actually use it. Then they gave out a whole bunch of BTC to a lot of their citizens through this app called the Chivo app, which loads of people downloaded, then immediately sold their coins. And so it was just kind of like a free government handout in a way. But I haven't actually been there, so I can't speak to it in that respect. But it's hard because any BTC related publicity about it, they try and show it always in a good light. And then like Mark Falzon, who we've had on the show, went down there and he's done, I think, 2 actual documentaries about what was going on there. And he didn't have the most positive opinion of it. And now you can see stuff coming out with the BTC guys kind of saying, well, El Salvador isn't on the hoax episode 119. We had the clip as well with Nopara talking about how it wasn't really working in El Salvador. So there's a lot of mixed messaging there, which leads me to believe that maybe it's not going so great, because if it was going great, everybody would kind of agree, I think. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? Good luck with that, Bitcoin Ben. Maybe we'll take over Las Vegas first. We'll focus on that. We'll worry about El Salvador once it's kicking off. All right, meme of the week this week. This is a good one. Comes from the Riften Labs team, or Cindy Wang's Quant, has made a little mashup edit for us here. Let's have a look at this, Jet.
I am a warrior, a destroyer, a force of pure violence, and all that I desire is the sheer glory of victory. Mercy is for the weak, surrender for those who have no conviction. I am coming for this world, and all it has to offer. Nothing will stop me. I care for nothing more than to see my name carved in history, and for the world to bow.
Welcome to the stage, Dago.
I am coming for it all.
All right, there we go. Hopefully it didn't blow out everyone's eardrums. Definitely will tune that down a little bit in the released version. But I saw you both laughing there. That's a good little bit of Moria advertising and propaganda, eh? You know?
Yeah, I thought it was so funny because like the music is like super intimidating, super aggressive, and then you got this little soft ass juice box drinking white dude. Ain't nobody talking about surrender for no mercy. All right.
See, what you don't know is this is, you know, Dagger, the Icelandic shadow wizard, who actually might destroy the existing financial system. He's up there cooking away with the wizards. Appearances can be deceiving, my friend. Right. This guy is a force to be reckoned with. Let me tell you that.
Oh, I bet, like, I'm not judging the book by its cover by no means, but just
it's true. The contrast. Yeah, it's the meme. Exactly. Of course, the meme. The meme is so good for that reason. You know? Very carefully chosen photo. Oh man. Anyway, I enjoyed that. I thought that was fantastic. And one quick other little note here: community comment of the week. We got Luke Dasher. His comment on the Bitcoin Independence Day, August 1st, was, quote, "The migration away from the now malicious Bitcoin core may prove to be an even bigger step in Bitcoin's history, but first we need to get there. In the meantime, happy USF Day. Don't forget, even back then, core was already beginning to be undermined and denied users this right." End quote. So he is absolutely in Cope land. They are busy over there trying to engineer their NOTs migration away from Bitcoin core, but at the same time hold in the mind the cognitive dissonance that last time they were the bad guy. The last time they were the good guys fighting with Bitcoin core, but now they're the bad guys and they're on the same team still, but kind of not, but kind of really, but we can't chain split, but everything like that. So, you know, just to follow this up, because we've been following this one on the show, and I thought that was just a nice summary of it. You know, it's kind of like celebrating the win, but also kind of being like, wait, how did we end up in such a disaster if we were the good guys? Well, there you have it. Okay, message to the community. OOTATT, you've had already, quite a bit of opined on a few different topics. But if you had to sum it up or give one other message to the BCH community, what do they need to hear?
First of all, I gotta thank the whole BCH community as a whole and individually, starting with Steve, Thurman, you, Jeremy, Kaliski, Purely Pure, Cash Dragons, Turik, Mahamulu. Majamalu. My bad, bro. My bad. I appreciate all y'all so much, man. Like, it really means so much to me to have y'all like really believing in me and investing in me. And y'all just met me not even 2 months ago. Like that right there shows me that y'all truly see the value in what I'm bringing. And it just makes me want to double down and go even harder for you guys. Instead of doing 5 tattoos, I want to do 10. Instead of doing 10, I want to do 20. Like, I did 20 in a week. Easy. You know what I mean? That was just off word of mouth and footwork. Like if I get excited, I get overwhelmed, I got to calm back there. Because I'm like really enthusiastic about this and I really want to go hard as I possibly can. And like with y'all behind me, I know it's all going to work out. It's going to bring the results that you guys are putting your investments into, period.
Amazing. All right, cool. Well, shout out to our FundMe contributors then from 156 to 165. This is the first in the new batch. We're about 80% done. So if you want to get on this list, you can head to fundme.cash, throw in a few sats. You need half a BCH to get mentioned. But of course, we appreciate all the donators. Majamali Marcelo, Jeremy is made of whatever profits are made of. Molecular, the show we love. At Cash Tamps, keep building and broaching. Erdogan Talk, economics writer. Big hair, love the show, love your hair. Yeah, not doing so great on that front, but it is what it is. Milton Friedman, Purely Fear, purelyfear.cash. Discover the thrill of quest hunting, find hidden cash drops, and collect BCH. Supporter appreciation, donators, thank you very much for sending in sats. Our patrons, Ricky HP and Kyle, and our sponsors, General Protocols. Check out bchbull.com. Start guide, FAQ, and links are at bitcoincashpodcast.com. If you're new, listen to episode 85 and try Selene Wallet at selene.cash. Final shout outs for the show. Jet, you're first up. All right, doesn't have any. OOTATT, where can people find more of you? Where are you most active? On Instagram, Twitter, what?
I'm pretty much most active on X right now with the Twitter space. This 00TATTS. On other platforms, it might be like OOTATTS, but like it's the OOTATT experience. I'm the Black James Bond doing tattoos, crypto tattoos on skin, and ink on the blockchain. Can't beat it.
Love it, exactly. And if people are in Las Vegas, they can come down to Bitcoin Ben's Las Vegas and hit you up there as well too, right?
For sure. Yeah, I'm definitely at Bitcoin's Ben's Crypto Club pretty much 24/7, man. Anytime you want to catch me here, you can pull up here or give me a call. Hit me up on Instagram, any social media, whatever. Like, I'm there for sure.
All right, we'll put some links in the show notes so people can follow that up. All right, and did we find the mob song? Can we go out on that one? BCH mob? All right, okay. Brilliant. Let's get that lined up. Okay, all right, okay. No stress.
Video. Yeah, play video.
All right, thank you all for listening. Until next time, this is OOTATT with the BCH mob.
Yeah. These Bitcoin Cash tattoos, the BCH mob, like, it's gonna be the catalyst.
BCH MOB, it's a movement you see, bringing crypto to the streets where we wanna be. Bitcoin Cash on the block, it's the new decree. In the clubs, in the shops, it's the key to be free. No red tape, no endless wait. Fast like lightning, seal your fate. No red tape, shit so fast, no second thought. breaking the chains. The banks once taught, they sold the dream, but the dream was right. Now we rise, BCH takes a shot. They said the system was built to last, but the promises broke like shattered glass. We're rewriting the script, forget the past. Crypto's the future, it's moving fast. Swipe tap is done in a blink. Money that moves faster than you think. The power's ours, no middle link. BCH stands tall on the break. No red tag shit so fast, no second thought. Breaking the chains, the banks once taught. They sold the dream, but the dream was right. Now we rise, BCH takes a shot. BCH, hey, take a shot. Hey, swipe tap, it's done in a blink. Money that moves faster than you think. The power's ours, no middle link. BCH stands tall on the break. No red tag shit so fast, no second thought. Breaking the chains, the banks once taught. They sold the dream, but the dream was right. Now we rise, BCH takes a
Basically what we
shot.
just did, we printed out his certificate of authenticity to match his tattoo, to go with his tattoo, and then we're about to mint it as an NFT, so it'll be permanently on the blockchain. And since his design is a custom design, he'll be able to attach his Celine Wallet QR code, and anytime somebody wants to use that design, they would have to pay him royalties in order to use that design.